Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Remote Work Solutions podcast. I'm Brady Hicks, and today I'm joined by a fantastic representative from Jabra. We have with us Anders Hvelplund. Anders is the current SVP of Contact Center and Services with Jabra. His responsibilities include P&L and strategy for the contact center, and he's also responsible for Jabra's own customer support services team, which consists of more than 200 agents and service staff around the world. How are you doing today, Anders?
Doing great, thanks. Thanks for having me, Brady.
Well, we're very excited to have you for sure. If you could, please tell us a little bit about Jabra for those who aren't familiar.
Yeah, sure. So Jabra is a company based in Denmark. And you can say it's quite unusual in the sense that it's a very old company. It's been around for 151 years, almost 152. So it's a pretty old company, but it's always been in the business of connecting people. The company started laying the first telegraph lines between China and Europe, and has had a long history since. Obviously, the telegraph business is not so hot anymore, but we're still in the business of connecting people now with audio and video devices. And we also special in the sense that we have everything from consumer grade technology to medical grade technology. So we have everything from hearing aids to call center headsets to consumer headsets. So quite a broad profile.
Well, when you talk about connecting others, I know that the contact center has been a huge focus for Jabra. If you could, please tell us a little bit about the importance of the contact center in the overall scope of things.
Absolutely. We've been in the headset business for a long time. And in fact, we engineered the world's first contact center headset 42 years ago, actually now. And this was what started our venture into headsets back in the day. So this is where the journey started, and this is obviously the biggest part of our business today. So contact center is very close to our hearts. That's how the whole industry came to life. Now we use headsets in all parts of our lives, but it really started in the contact center. And we're particularly excited about it in this time because we think the industry is changing quite massively. So it used to be sort of a place that was really managed for cost. And we see now that it's much more a place that's managed for experience, because customer experience is becoming potentially the most powerful way you can differentiate your business and your brand. So companies are starting to treat the whole industry quite differently, and that gives rise to many new opportunities. And the other thing is that there's probably not an industry that's more in the dead center of the cloud and AI revolutions that we're seeing right now. So there's a lot of innovation happening in the contact center space at this moment too. So we've been in the business for a long time, but I think it's fair to say we've probably never been more excited about the industry.
You know, I've seen a statistic floating around that 80% of companies believe they deliver strong customer experience, but just 8% of the customers actually feel the same. Why do you see as this disparity, and how can that be alleviated?
I think part of it comes back to where I just came from, that traditionally this has been an area that's been managed for cost. I think all of us can recognize the experience of needing to contact the company and just spending a lot of time just trying to find a phone number, because whatever self-service on the web is not helpful. So for quite some time, companies have almost been trying to, or some companies I should say, but quite few have been trying to almost avoid the contact. And I think more and more companies are realizing now that this is not the best way to deliver a good customer experience. And I think when you ask customers how frequently do you receive great customer experience, it is only 8% of the time that they feel that. And I think most of us will probably recognize that when we think of ourselves as consumers, that how many of our experiences we have in buying products, etc., and servicing products, do we have a great experience? It's probably not that often. On the other hand, I think companies feel, well, we're doing pretty well given the budget we have to deliver these experiences. But I think the point is that if you really do it well, I mean, that really have a chance to stand out in the crowd.
Okay, cool. Now you spoke about experiences. I'm just curious, what are some of the steps that would go into choosing, say, the optimal contact center equipment?
I think it really starts with what kind of company you are and what your relationship is with the customer. So you have to, of course, first step is to figure out what kind of infrastructure, what kind of platforms, what kind of technology stacks you want to run in your contact center. And I think there's a strong trend towards cloud solutions, because cloud just enables much better way to leverage the data in the call center and to deploy new technologies, including AI technologies, in an effective way. So it really starts with the platforms and selecting the right appropriate ones. And then, of course, we are a hardware provider, so we obviously also think that the headset plays a major role in the equation. And we often see many companies making the mistake, in our view, that they spend a lot of time, effort, and money on the platform, and they don't think about those last couple of feet that actually connects the advisors and the CX professionals to the customers. So we believe it's also quite critical to think about those. And what we're particularly excited about is that the role of the headset is really changing at the moment in the contact center. So it has always been about delivering, of course, absolutely clear audio. You don't want any dogs barking in the background now that a lot of advisors sitting at home, or similar sounds. You just want to hear the advisor. And I think the other thing, of course, you always want great comfort, because the advisors are often sitting with these headsets on for 6, 7, 8 hours a day. So that's always been true. But what's really interesting now is that the headsets can also start to interact with the cloud systems and the AI systems, and deliver new experiences with data coming directly from the headset. So that's an area that we are really invested in from an innovation standpoint.
Okay, and it sounds like some really exciting kind of developments there. If you could maybe talk about some of Jabra's specifically contact center offerings and what sets them apart from others.
So coming back to sort of mainly what we do in the contact center is audio equipment headsets. And we're also starting now to embark on equipping contact centers with video equipment. But if you stay in the audio category for the starting point here, I think where we stand apart, we've been in this game forever, and I think we started, as I said, close to 42 years ago. And for a long time, for the longest time, it was really about who can deliver the clearest audio, who can deliver the best comfort and the best all-day wearing experience. And I would say we and our competitors sort of gradually improved over time and got better and better. But then in the last couple of years, as I mentioned, the role of the headset, we believe in Jabra, is really changing. And if I'm not mistaken, we're the only vendor that sees it that way at the moment. So what we're particularly excited about is that we are now offering, I think as the only company, or I know as the only company, digital headsets for the contact center. And what that means is, first of all, we become better at what we always were good at. So things like canceling background noise in the environment. So we've been sort of on a gradual improvement slope for many years in the industry. But when we converted to digital headsets and we had a chance to develop intelligent algorithms between the 3 microphones we have in the device, we're able to cancel much more background noise, which is really important. Some of our biggest customers have analyzed and investigated the impact of background noise on their conversations, and they could see that even some of the most customer-centric companies in the world could see that they had quite often background noise, and that's an issue in terms of the call gets longer. The advisors have to repeat themselves. The customers have to ask the advisors to repeat themselves, but also sometimes because sensitive information is shared. Imagine you're sitting in an insurance company and the person on the line can hear the conversation next to them, perhaps sharing sensitive information. It's just not ideal. So we've become much better at that with the digital headsets, and then we can also deliver data from the headsets. So data, for instance, about the audio quality. Is everything working well? Is the audio coming through clear and crisp? That data can be delivered to the advisors, but also to their supervisors, to the management. And we can deliver data on whether or not the advisors are speaking with a good conversation style. Perhaps they are interrupting the customers too often. Perhaps they are sort of having long, awkward pauses in the conversation. That kind of data also comes directly from the headset. And the third thing we can do with the analytics is that we can gamify the headset experience. So let's say, for instance, that we have an advisor who's sitting in too much background noise. Well, we can show that with a color on the headset, that particular advisor is sitting in too much background noise. We have flexible LEDs on the headset that can light up under different circumstances. One of our customers even use it to special color for when agents have a birthday in the call center. So I think that's the key change really that we've gone in our case from analog to digital headsets that affords us to just do better, but also deliver more data and gamify the headset experience.
And it certainly, again, a lot of really kind of groundbreaking stuff there. I know that something that Jabra has really kind of leaped forward with recently, and you even kind of referenced it, has been aspects like analytics and artificial intelligence. How specifically can analytics and AI help?
There are so many use cases for that in the contact center, and we're so excited about it. I think the starting point to recognize is that the contact center is at the epicenter of the AI technology at the moment. And it's really a focus area for the biggest players in this industry like Amazon and Google. The reason being that there's just so much data, and it's a great opportunity to automate. I think a lot of companies are looking into automation in the contact center, and that's sort of the classical angle that the humans will be replaced by bots. But I can tell you that our perspective is clearly that's not going to happen anytime soon. I think most people that have tried to interact with a chatbot just knows how far we are from having what you really need, which is a competent individual that can help you with the services that the company is offering. So what we're more interested in AI in the moment from our perspective is how can we use that AI to make the advisor experience more interesting and more fun, and also make it easier to work as a supervisor. And especially now that advisors and supervisors are frequently sitting apart, the supervisor can no longer just walk the aisle and see how everybody's doing and check in and coach. So the angle we're taking on this is really how can we use analytics and AI to create engagement in the contact center, whether that's a virtual contact center or a physical one.
Are there any other specific developments or features or anything like that that we can look out for from Jabra?
Yeah, so as I said, we sort of for some time been doing analytics from the headset, and those analytics again were analytics around audio quality. One of the more popular features in that regard, for instance, is that our headsets, as mentioned, does a fantastic job of canceling background noise. But what we can do now is also give the advisors the comfort that, let's say there's a dog barking behind me, or my kid is screaming, or they do that quite often, I can tell you from where I'm sitting. And some similar event, oftentimes advisors will feel uncertain, like, is it coming through? And we can actually give them specific guidance as to whether or not that is getting into the call. And the good news is most often it's not. So we're looking into this audio quality data, and we're looking into also these conversational analytics data, as also mentioned. The exciting new development that we are looking into, and we will launch later this year in the third quarter or the second half of the year, is tone-based artificial intelligence. So we see in this industry that there's a lot of analysis that's based on text. So you take the voice stream, you convert it to text, and you look at what words are being said. And that's great for many purposes, but what we find more interesting than analyzing the text is analyzing the tone that's happening, both for the advisors and for the customers. Because ultimately what matters is, what's the voice of our brand? Do we sound great on the phone? Do we sound friendly? Do we sound engaged when we speak to customers? Or do we sound like we don't give a damn about their problems? Where are we on that spectrum? And we're building technology now to measure that. So to measure if the advisors sound great, do they sound friendly? Do they sound energetic? Do they sound like they want to solve the customer's problems? Do they have empathy? And also simpler things like, are they speaking too fast? Are they speaking too slow? Do they speak with a monotonous voice? So we're looking into those technologies, and I'm really excited about it. And equally on the customer side, we can measure, does the customer sound satisfied with the interaction based on their tone? So that's something new and exciting that we look forward to share as we go.
It sounds like a lot of exciting stuff as we kind of embark on 2022 honors. Anything else of excitement coming up, or kind of just business as usual for Jabra?
No, I think when business as usual, we're in a bad state. So we always try to think about the next game. And one of the things that we are very excited about at the moment is video enabling the CX conversations. So we now all been used to video. We're recording this podcast over Zoom. I mean, it's prevalent everywhere, and in all of our calls, basically. I think the one area where that revolution hasn't yet happened is in the contact center, but we don't see a reason why it shouldn't. I mean, we see a lot of advantages in going into that space from a company perspective, and what we are really excited about there is bringing new innovation. So you could obviously say, why not just use a standard webcam for that? But like, we think that the contact center is really sort of the Formula One arena for voice, where you don't want absolutely clear audio and no background noise is accepted, etc. We see it the same for video. I mean, you want the advisors to look great. You want the light condition to look fantastic, whether or not they're not sitting in a professional studio. So whether how they're sitting, that you want them to just look great under all circumstances, and you want privacy. So you only want to be able to see that particular advisor and not, their kid, if their kid happens to move into the screen. So we're looking into those kinds of innovations also on the video side. How can we create as creative an experience as we're creating on audio with video devices, and more to come on that also in 2022.
It sounds like Jabra's really put a lot of thought into future developments. Anders, if people want more information, and I know they're going to, where can they visit online?
Well, Jabra.com is a great starting place to go. There you'll find links to our contact center pages. And also, I mean, look us up, look me up on LinkedIn, look all of us up. We are very happy to engage and speak about this topic. As you can tell, hopefully it's something we're deeply passionate about.
Well, I happen to see the passion that really comes through your words, and I want to wish you nothing but the best, Anders, and thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you so much, Brady. Thanks for having us again. It was a pleasure to speak to you.
While you guys are online checking out all the great stuff, all the great developments from Jabra, don't forget to visit rwsmagazine.com and check out all the digital content, everything from podcasts to RWS TVs and more right there, rwsmagazine.com. With RWS, I'm Brady Hicks.